What is up, everybody? Hey, we got a special show for you today. You know what? Matt is out and about having some tech issues, so it is going to be your trusted co-host, me, Greg, the Junior Grandmaster, and we actually have the Gene, the Volpinator, the evil bald ninja. He is the co-host of today's show. This is going to be a lot of fun. It's a Greg and Gene show. It's going to be all about tech. It's going to be all about questions. So you guys post your questions. We're going to be having a blast together. But Gene, how are you today?
McDizzle, listen, I think this is going to be great. I think it's going to be fun. And for the record, and I want this recorded, I am a much better looking co-host than Mr. Matt Johnson.
You know what? There might be some fighting words there, but I will let East Coast, West Coast duke it out. You know, Biggie and Tupac round two. We're going to have a lot of fun. But, you know, so I was scrolling through lead gen scripts and objections. And I know that you do a lot with social media and a lot with, you know, data and everything else. And, I mean, I know how I would answer this question, but I want to see how you would answer this question when it comes to when someone was asking about when they're doing cold calls and the person responds, "How did you get my number?" How would you respond to that?
Me?
Yeah.
So, sorry, you got me laughing already. First of all, I guess we're just jumping right in. Is that what we're doing here?
Oh, yeah. We're not fucking around, bro.
So this is serious business. All right. I thought this was going to be winging it. We're going to talk about turkey and the sandwich that I just ate and all kinds of stuff. You want to get serious?
Spicy chicken. Oh, yeah, we got to get serious, and then we'll go back to joking around.
All right, let's do that. Okay. And I have a feeling there'll be a little bit of joking around in between anyway, so we'll be all right.
Yeah.
How would I respond? Well, you got to remember, you have to take into account for the fact that I am not a real estate agent and I have no license on the line, so I can react a little differently than you can. And my reaction would sort of sound like this. You know that it is 2018, right? and not only that, but I can probably pull your house up on Google and tell you what your license plate is, the one that's parked in your driveway. So, you know, no, listen, how to get your number? I mean, first off, I would probably, assuming the way that I got the number was ethical and legal, I would tell them.
Right?
I mean, I would just say it. Like, a friend of a friend sort of mentioned, I looked you up. I found that your stuff's out there in the yellow pages or in the white pages online. Is that even a thing anymore? But, you know, your information's out there for everybody to grab, or I got it from your cousin, I got it from X, Y, and Z. I probably wouldn't tell them I bought a list, right?
Actually, what I do, I actually tell them, hey, look, I subscribe to a service, and they actually pin home phone numbers to addresses. And then I equate it back to something like, you know what, it's kind of like, because we have Safeway out here, that's our supermarket.
Sure.
Because you have your Safeway card, so that's associated with your home line number or just a phone number. So it's kind of like, it's kind of like your home, it's kind of like when you go to Safeway and you put in your savings card number and then, then you save some stuff. And that's kind of that's what I do when I explain to people, and they're like, oh, well, it's really scary that you have my phone number. And I do almost anything I can to not come through the phone and be like, sweet cheeks. If you think that's scary, let me explain to you exactly how scary data can be. You know, how much stuff you can buy off of from data providers. I mean, Gene, I can tell you what kind of toilet paper you guys buy, what kind of dog food you use, what political party you associate with, how much you donate to them. Shit, man, the tracking devices and the systems that they're doing on cell phones now, they can geo-track you anywhere you go, even if that phone is off, they're able to track you. And then now and since your Wi-Fi is usually left on, they can push out and geolocate you like that. I mean, your phone number is the least of your concerns.
So actually, let's spin that. Let's really spin that, because here's what you just gave me an idea when we started to talk about it.
Ooh.
If let's assume that this call is for a listing. Is that what we're doing here?
Yeah, we can do it's just the outbound prospecting calls like I do all the time. Let's see if they drum up some listings. Sure, let's do that.
All right, so let's do it this way. So watch this. I would take exactly what you just said, and make it a little bit more concise and put a little bow on it, but say it this way. And I would even add this to it. And if you don't think we can utilize that information to help sell your house, you're not talking to the right people. So why don't we get together and I can show you the ins and outs of what you just found out and how we can use that to market your place better and target the audience and sell your house quicker with all the information we have.
I like that spin. It is a really good spin on that. It's something a little bit different. I get myself in trouble because I'm always trying to be too damn honest. I'm like, well, I actually buy a list and blah, 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 and yakety schmackety. But I'll tell you, reversing that around is absolute evil ninja status. Because it's like, well, if you think that, I'm pretty awesome for finding this, you should see what I can really do
Yep.
when it comes to marketing your property with technology. Have you heard about a blah, blah, blah? And then you just go on and you just kind of, you let everyone else know what other technology is available for them. Because I think that, well, like on your side, I mean, let's talk a little bit about what you do with the technology. So people are freaked out about you having their phone number, right? And these are the people that have one foot, in the grave, essentially, because maybe not physically, but mentally, because like, oh my God, it's so scary. You have my phone number. Like, sweet cheeks. It's a lot worse than that. So, what kind of tech do you see coming down the pipe that is going to be radically disrupting or changing the real estate market in the coming years? Because there's a couple of different programs and products that I want to kind of push by you and see what your thoughts are.
Wow. So that's a really good question. It's extremely loaded, and it could really take a bunch of different paths. So let's talk about those things. First of all, we talked about last week. First is going to be virtual reality, right?
Okay.
They're going to be able to do things with virtual reality that I can't even comprehend yet. Like, if you think about 3 years ago or 10 years ago, we had this conversation the other day. Like, my father died in 95, right?
Oh, yeah.
He didn't even know what a cell phone was. Like, imagine right now I'm streaming the Phillies, live on my phone through Facebook. Like, think about what his state. He was just like, how do we lock the front door? Let's make sure we can lock the front door with the key. Make sure the key works. That was like the extent of the technology back then.
Wow.
Now it's like, wait a minute. There's cameras in your driveway. I don't understand. This comes to your cell phone. You can look at things on your cell phone and watch. Like, you've seen the Ring doorbell, right?
Oh, yeah. My parents have one.
So what's the Ring do? You can be in Mexico, and you can know that somebody's standing out front of your door and talk to them through it. Like, think about that. Think about 5-10 years ago. I guess my point there is that there's going to be stuff that comes out in the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years that we can't even comprehend right now. That's how fast it's moving. So I think augmented reality, virtual reality is going to change the game at some point, and voice. 50% of all things searched on the internet right now are from a mobile phone and using your voice. Yeah,
that's one of the things that Gary Vee has been talking a lot about is, that's why he's doubling down on everything when it comes to podcasts and everything else, because people are on the move so much that they're stepping away from watching video all the time. Now, I'm not saying by any way, shape, or form to not do video. I'm saying do video. They're two totally different compartments here.
Absolutely.
But I mean, I know Facebook was dicking around with Facebook Voice, where you could do posts just audio wise in case you feel like you've had a face for camera. You have a face for radio.
Yeah, right.
But I think that voice is going to be incredibly powerful. I mean, Anchor, that app Anchor, they actually shifted from short form to long form content. So if you guys want to start getting your stuff out there, Anchor is a great alternative for you. You can go out there and start doing like a day in the life of all audio or little longer form podcasts or voice casts, I guess you want to say. But I'm with you on the augmented. I think augmented reality is going to radically move and change and shift the way that we do our real estate game. And this is what I think. This is why I think it is. So augmented, is really, really powerful, and it's just starting to get going. There's a ton of major corporations, and the example is going to be Disney here. Gene, you have a couple of daughters, right?
I do, 13 and 10, yeah.
10.
Yeah.
So the 10-year-old, she still likes Disney stuff and.
Yeah, even the 13-year-old still does. I mean, she's starting to get a little bit too cool for it, but she still loves it.
Okay, so let's just take your 10-year-old because she's perfect prime territory for this. So you take your 10-year-old and you guys go, since you're over on the East Coast, you go to Disney World, right? Well, what's her favorite Disney character right now?
Pick one of them. Any princess. Pick any one of them.
Okay, we'll pick a princess.
Say Aurora.
Aurora.
She's a princess. Let's do her. Princess Aurora. Yeah.
So you go into the gift shop and you get a booklet on Aurora. Now, we're used to being confined to two-dimensional environments, right?
Yep.
Not anymore. With augmented reality, what they're going to be able to do is they're going to be able to bring, with an app on your phone, you're going to be able to take your phone and put it over the coloring book or the book, and all of a sudden Aurora is no longer 2D, she's now 3D, and she's in full living animated action interacting with the people. Now, that's just one case. So this is what my theory is, and this is, tell me I'm completely batshit crazy for this one. But I truly believe from the technology that's coming out there, and I mean, we never thought we'd have an all-glass phone. I mean, seriously, all-glass phone that costs $1,000+. We would have thought ourselves 5 years ago absolutely insane to buy one, but I've got one, and so do tens of thousands, if not millions of others people do too. And the thing is that I think that in the future, a brochure, like this is for a float tank, which, by the way, dude, I'm really going to go to these float tanks things. This thing looks really cool. But your flyers like this for your houses that are 2D and flat, I think that with augmented reality, I think you're going to be able to select different types of furniture to put in the property if the home furniture is not what you're liking. So like maybe if you like modern or maybe country or contemporary or you know East Coast. I mean really whatever you want. You can put your own style of furniture in there so you can see yourself living there. And I bet you anything that since they're already doing it on other things, I bet we can bring to life that home and show birthday parties, Christmas get-togethers, quiet in at night, showing a type of lifestyle in that home off of a piece of paper and your cell phone with the correct augmented reality apps.
No, I don't think you're crazy at all. I would be willing to bet you we had looked at some technology. I want to say it was 3 years ago where they were starting to build out augmented reality tours based off of you taking a shot from your camera on your phone of a flyer with like a QR code. Yeah. And it launches, think about it. You can launch a Matterport tour, a virtual reality tour. You can a video tour. Think about from this perspective. You've seen probably, so you go back to the Princess Aurora thing, right, where you take the picture and she comes off the screen. So you've seen already where you go onto a web page and somebody walks out from the side and starts talking to you.
Yeah.
You've seen that before. That was like a widget that's one of these little programming things that's been done forever, and they put a model in there. But they can build that off of you as well for a couple grand. Well, imagine when that happens is that you're going to pop off the screen and hold a live interactive conversation with the person who's looking.
Yeah, with a chatbot and augmented. Yeah, combine those two.
Yeah, I mean, Zillow might be working on that right now for all we know with all their cash.
Oh, I would totally probably agree with you. And then probably an evil robot to go take over the real estate world. But I mean, I think that's the things that I really realized, Gene, and I was sitting there and I was just walking around Inman Connect on Tuesday, the Tech Tuesday, and great environment. Got to hang out with my girl Beth. Knuckle to you, Beth. So much fun. But there was just nothing new. There's nothing out of the box new. Everything was the same shit repackaged, and nobody was coming out with something, earth-shatteringly awesome. And that's the part that kind of disappointed me a little bit, to tell you the truth. I was like, come on, because I always go to this thing looking for that red herring. Where's that one thing that's going to be totally smokingly cool that we're going to be able to, take over the world with, or that new shiny thing? But it's just nothing there. It's the same thing, just different wrappers around everything.
Well, I think we're in the downturn right now so I feel like the technology booms are fluid, sort of like the markets are, right? And even like the real estate market. Everybody keeps talking about how it's going to hit its peak and it's going to crash, and this is like it was in 06, and right, you keep hearing that stuff, right?
Right.
And this is not me saying whether or not that's going to be the case. That's yet to be seen. But I think the technology world works the same way. It's like things get stagnant, and then bang, there's an explosion of Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Google Plus, all in one shot, and all in a 5-year span. And then the video tours for real estate agents go from photos to virtual tours to videos to 3D videos to agents doing videos to agents on videos to Matterport to boom, it all explodes within a 3-4 year period. Right. And once all that happens, it's like the dust has to settle. Everybody's got to get bored of what has been the hot, crazy thing for the last 4 years, and somebody's going to peek their head out with something new, and then the copycats are going to jump in and take their ideas and run with it, right? So it's right now, all these things that are going on behind the scenes that they're incubating at the big brokerage houses and and we'll just stick to real estate, and all these other companies that have been behind the scenes doing this stuff. Somebody's ready to launch something new that's going to change the industry. And then there's going to be a bunch of people that follow suit. So I feel like we're sort of down in that valley right now. Mm-hmm. It's the peak popped with all these things: Facebook advertising, Google pay-per-click, all these dialing programs, Mojo, and all these crazy things that are going on, RedX. And now it's like, all right, I've been doing these for 4 years, so now what? And we're just waiting for that next Elon Musk to step up and go, here it is. And everybody goes, oh, shit, it's unbelievable. I can't believe you can't do that. And then you get 5 people behind him going, we're going to do it, but we're going to do it with our own flavor on it.
Right.
So I think we're sort of like just stuck in that downturn right now. And it's going to pop again, and there's going to be another revolution soon. I don't know what soon means, but so I think that's where we're kind of at and where it's going.
I think what I'm seeing here, because what I was thinking about when I was walking out there, actually you popped in my brain, because I know that you do a lot on social media, but you're also very relationship based. I mean, you take video that people do, and then you go try to create relationships, get people to react to that video, coming back, then you can retarget them, get that relationship being built with the human being. I was thinking about the fact that, I've told you and everyone knows that we're launching the radio show on KGO 8:10 a.m. Talk on Sunday, August 5th. Awesome. Either August 5th or it's the next Sunday, but it's one of those two. It's in the first 2 weeks of August. But I'm like, so if everyone's doing the same thing in marketing and technology, how can we leverage technology to build more relationships? And the radio is going to be huge for that for our team. Nick Sakis, what he and I are doing on the back end with this new platform he's playing with is going to be big. And the thing that I found, and this is what blew me away, Gene, is that when I was out yesterday, I went out and shot 7 videos, and it was all for this thing that Nick and I are doing, and for the short little videos. And I went and I found people who are offering discounts, local businesses. And I went to Groupon to find these different businesses, because Groupon just rapes you. Apparently, it's just purely a marketing play. You make no money on their offers. It's just they've got a big platform, and you go take it over the barrel, and that's all it is.
Right.
But I walked up to him, I talked to this float place. I went to this Peak Performance Float, which I cannot wait to go to. And they were saying, and they're like, well, how much are you going to charge me? I'm like, nothing.Ey're like, well, hell yeah, we're in it. We'll even up our offer. I went to a karate place. I went to a lady who does facials, another guy that does hair, and a couple of other joints. Every single one of these people wanted to network with me and help me market their place of business, because I'm not going to charge them anything. So if you could go in and start making relationships with these local businesses, and you can bring them over to if you guys are doing Rockstar Connect, go and network with every one of these businesses and personally invite them to your Rockstar Connect. Bring them an invitation or send them something over the email or have a conversation with them and say it's an opportunity where you can get to know more people, and then go there and create a whole social media side to it. Do a Facebook Live, do a bunch of photos, do a hashtag, and then ask all these other businesses to start working in conjunction with you so that you guys can create a little, a little army of local people that would want to refer back and forth to each other instead of doing everything digitally. Now, have I just completely lost my marbles? Because I'm saying digital and technology is awesome, but at the exact same time, if everyone else is doing digital and technology, why couldn't you go back, do the old musket, and wagon and everything else, and just be old school?
No, you have to. You have to. And I always think it's funny that, especially lately, and I know it's been being talked at the Inman Connect thing you were talking about, which I'd love to get into if we can before we finish this. But the real estate is going to change. We know this. It's changing now. But that doesn't mean the agent's going to go away. People are arguing about the fact that Redfin wants to do X, Y, and Z, and Keller Williams is trying this, and EXP's stepping on their toes, and there's a bunch of these arguments going on. Whereas if I was a real estate agent, I would just keep being focused on what value I provide and what I'm good at. Because if you're good at what you do, I don't care. Look, the out front, especially with this generation that's coming up, and it's going to be first and second time home buyers, first time parents. They don't really want to talk to you on the phone. They're sort of like I am. This is a terrible way to be ahead of your time, but I was ahead of my time in that I always hated the phone. I don't like it. I'd rather text. Even though I do, that. We talk about this all the time. I can't. Yeah. And part of it is because I know I go down a rabbit hole and I get sucked into the whole, hey, how's the family? Where's the kids? How about Bob, Frank? And 4.5 hours later, I've got nothing accomplished and I'm still on the phone. So I know that's like my black hole. But there's always going to be the need for that hand-to-hand combat, human connection, you smelling people's cologne. Because remember, you got a bunch of senses, right? And those senses need to be firing in order for you don't think so? Or you forget you have them.
I'm just fucking with you.
No, I know. But I think those senses need to be fired in order for you to make a huge commitment. $500,000 house. It's your biggest buy, biggest sell, most nerve-wracking thing. I think to get you to that point, technology is going to grow in its importance. But once we're at that point, they still want to see Greg's face. They still want to see if he's a scumbag. They still want to see if he's a good dude. Seriously, right? I mean, anytime you want, listen, talk about float. You keep talking about float, and they should be paying you for this advertisement, right? But
yeah, they should.
But if you walked up to that dude, so think about it. Let's say you found them online and you were going to go, and you walk in that front door, and the guy there is like a used car salesman. No offense to used car salesman, but your stereotypical used car salesman. He's got the gold chains on. Hey man, come in here. I want to talk to you about something. Like I want to, how would you? That's cool, dude. I'm gonna run because two of your senses were fired negatively, right? So you like the smell of his cologne, and he just seemed a little off. The brochure and this social media got you in the door. When you got in the door, he had to close the deal, right? That's your real estate agent. That's never going to go away. It's not. But here's what I think is interesting. I believe that the folks that are actually complaining about the technology changing are the ones that suck at that hand-to-hand combat and the connections, and that they know they're going to lose out. The best agents, go talk to Jeff Cohn. Ask Jeff Cohn if he's nervous about the industry changing.
No.
Why is he not? Tell me why he's not.
Because he's taking advantage of it. He's seen what the trends are, and he's going to be like, okay, I'm going to go from here to here. I'm going to eliminate or shift out someone's career or job. I mean, look at telephone operators. That was a huge industry for so many years, and then it just died off, right? It morphed into something different. And I think that you're right on that one. I think that, like what you're saying, it's going to shift tremendously, but the art of communication in our society needs to come up. I was reading a dating profile from one of these chicks today, dude. I didn't know what the fuck she was talking about. And I'm sitting there reading, I'm like, I'm the dyslexic one, and you're the one writing like a dyslexic. I cannot understand what you're writing. I'm like, swipe left. I can't understand what you're saying. And here's an interesting thing when it comes to that, because our communication is sometimes getting lower, so our negotiations aren't quite as high as they could have been or should be at this point. They did a poll at Inman, and they said, would you let a computer or a software negotiate on your behalf, book an appointment, and or do research for you? Tremendously huge. Like, I think it was like 78% of the people said they do not want it to negotiate for them, but they would, almost 100% would let it set an appointment for them. So at this point, we don't have the trust in the technology to negotiate. I personally don't. I don't want a computer negotiating on my behalf for. I mean, it could be negotiating a stick of gum. I don't want it to do it. I mean, it's an intuitive process that human beings are going to need to stay a part of. But I think that what's going to happen, especially with all the chatbots that we're all very aware of, is the fact that the chatbots are going to become incredibly more effective. And if I can have my chatbot talk to a human or my chatbot talk to another chatbot and get the busy work done, and then just go in to do what I need to do, so go get a haircut, go order stuff from Safeway, go place an order for my favorite Starbucks. That would be a Matt thing. But I mean, I just don't know. It'll be interesting to see if like Amazon or Google or could be Facebook, any of these other players come in, get into the real estate game and do flat fee negotiations, and it's just that's the way it is. And now we have to negotiate against a computer system because they hold all the listings. The MLS gets decentralized, and it's a completely new ballgame. I mean, there's so many possibilities out there.
Well, wait. So you said a couple things there.
I did.
And I think, believe it or not. See, I give you credit where Johnson doesn't give you the credit. I'm giving you some credit.
Thank you, buddy.
So, no problem, pal. No, but listen. But I think so. I don't want to lose track of the fact that there's some value in the things that you don't want to have happen. So in other words, you just said I don't want a chatbot to negotiate for me, right? But then before that, you told me they did a survey and there was a percentage of people that wanted to negotiate with a chatbot, correct?
No. They didn't want it to negotiate with a chatbot, but they did want it to set reservations for them.
No. But it wasn't 100%.
It was not 100%.
No, so let's say it's 10%, right?
Okay. Okay.
And let's say those 10% are home sellers. Are you telling me that you don't want to talk to them because you'd rather negotiate with them yourself, even when they told you they'll talk to your machine? Or would you rather utilize the service and the software to get those 10? So here's what I'm saying to you. You stick with your 90%. You do what Greg does best. You use the technology to get to the table, and then you close the deal because of what you're doing. But what if you never had to go to the table because they're okay with negotiating with your tools? That sounded awful, but you know what I'm saying, right? But they were okay. So 10 of those people that you picked up next year, you never had a conversation with, but they still stroked the check.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, that sounds awful, but if they're telling you that they're okay with negotiating and there's a tool out there that will negotiate for you, you're saying you wouldn't use it?
I don't know.
Why wouldn't you? That's free money in my world. Like I'm saying to you, utilize the tactics and then come up with a way to get those tactics to work in your favor. So maybe it's almost saying you get them through technology to a certain point, and then at that certain point in the marketing and sales process, they get to choose whether they speak to Greg McDaniel, the dude, Terry McDaniel, the old Grandmaster OG, or if they just really would rather go back and forth with text messaging because they're 22 and they have no personality. Right? But either way, we're still stroking a check for $8,000 at the end of the day because I use the technology to close the deal, and that's the end. At the end of the day, that's the business.
Well, yeah. I mean, it comes with a learning curve. It's like on any of those old movies, when we all get our own personal assistant, androids or literally robots following us around doing our own bidding. And I don't think that'll actually take place. I think it'll all be AI and everything else. I don't think we're going to need a physical robot. But what's the iRobot with Will Smith a number of years ago?
Yeah. Yep.
And how wary he was of all the robots. That's how I am right now. I'm wary of that possibility because then it takes away all the control that a human being to human being can have by establishing a connection, understanding where they're coming from, instead of just purely off the numbers. And that's where my fear is with the robots. That they won't be intuitive enough to actually say, well, Gene and his family, they on paper this is what they're looking for, but in reality, getting that home sold so they can get moved to to San Francisco, for Gene's, new job is more important. But on paper, they only see the number that you put down that you would accept and nothing less.
Yeah.
Listen,
I get what you're saying, and I think I went a long way to say, wouldn't you rather just get another commission if you didn't have to talk to somebody, right? But
Matt would.
And listen, I would too. But I understand that you're in the. When anybody buys my service, this is going to sound awful, but from a real estate agent's perspective, it's going to sound self-serving, but it's not. People typically buy the service because they've had a personal one-on-one with me.
Right.
So they're really buying me, right? In most cases.
Right.
Not the fact that, you can hire any 16-year-old to post listings to a Facebook page. So, most people think like I could get this done overseas for $2 an hour. Why would I pay a premium? Well, there's more to it than that, but they're really, in most cases, buying me and my interaction and my technology and all that stuff, right? So same with the real estate agent. I mean, in my world on the East Coast where I live, you guys are not a dime a dozen, probably a penny for a baker's dozen. It's just easy. I always joke, I go out in front of I live in a home where there's like 110 homes in it. I mean, a development with 110 homes, and I think there's 14 real estate agents.
Oh, God, yeah.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Yeah, it's crazy. It's easy.
Yeah, well, we joke around the fact that, I mean, if you're a big crowd here and you throw a tennis ball into the crowd and you don't hit at least 3 real estate agents, there's something wrong with that crowd.
Yeah.
So I used to say rock, but now that there's been so many mass shootings, I'm like, now we're going to throw tennis balls.
Tennis balls, yeah, you're nice. You're being nicer about it.
Bouncy balls, easy things. And, Maria has a comment here. She says, no, I disagree. Half of the time you become a counselor in the transactions, you lose that personal touch. And I agree with her on that one. I mean, but that's the thing is that we're on the cutting edge, on the forward edge, or the bleeding edge of technology right now, where it's going.
Right.
I think that in 5-10 years, I honestly believe that technology is going to be so integrated into our DNA that it's just going to be normal at that point. I mean, 5 years ago, you and I sitting here doing a live video that's being broadcast all over Facebook and then put into an iTunes account and turned into a podcast and all this other technology did not exist 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And now I go on this thing 1 to 3 times a day doing live videos. Alexa and Google Home and Siri. I mean, these are the first 1.0 versions of where artificial intelligence and communicating with AI is really going to go from here. And they had a huge thing on Alexa and all the things that Alexa can do for you in the real estate space.
Nice.
One of the gals, talked about it, and she actually, what she does is she communicates through, Alexa with her clients, and she actually gives the little dots to her clients when they list the house or when they're doing a buyer with them, just so that they can be emotionally bonded to her and her team, because she gave them a $39 product. I mean, how many of us would pay $39 to get a listing?
Yeah, all day.
I mean, I'll buy you 2. I'll buy you 3. I don't give a shit. And I think those things are going to become more and more prevalent as we use that. But I want to ask you a question. Beacons.
Oh yeah, I love this.
Let's talk about beacons.
Okay, let's.
Because they came out a couple of years ago.
Yep.
They were clunky. They're difficult. But the opportunity there was huge.
Yeah.
So where do you see, well, first off, explain to everybody who doesn't know what a beacon is, what is a beacon?
So, okay, this is actually going to be fun. So a beacon is a little device, this is not one, but you get the idea. And usually it's a Bluetooth initiated device or a Bluetooth capable device. And what you do is you can place them in different spots and trigger an outcome. So one of the things that we were messing with at one point or another was putting a beacon. I don't know if you guys do this out there, but in front of some of our listings out here, they'll put a box in the ground with flyers in it. Mm-hmm. And it'll say, please take one, and you drive by and pull it out.
Right.
Well, the beacon is in there, and so we've programmed the beacon to say anybody who's come within 50 feet of the beacon, have the beacon send a message to their phone via Bluetooth that comes down in the menu. Right, yep. So it's not a text message; it comes in the menu, and that you pre-program it. So in this particular case, let's just say it said, "We see there's a house in the within 100 feet from you that's for sale. Click here to watch the video tour."
Yeah.
And you basically click the link, and it takes you to the video tour of the house you're standing in front of. So they were putting them into pizza shops. So if you're walking by the pizza shop, you get a coupon sent to your phone, like that type of stuff. The only challenge with them was, like you said, they were clunky, and they were limited by geography.
Yeah.
Right. So how far can a Bluetooth signal travel? That's basically how far you could reach with your beacons. Right.
Right.
Was that a good explanation?
Yeah, no, I think that was actually perfect. I mean, the one thing about beacons is that the majority of us, we all have our own Wi-Fi systems at home, so we connect our phones to our Wi-Fi, right? When we leave, we don't really turn our Wi-Fi off. Uh-huh. So the one thing is that the thing about beacons is that you can put them in there. They're not expensive, by the way.
No.
And this is a program I'm working on with Nick, is, working with beacons and taking all these different people and all these different locations where people go to and everything else, high traffic areas, putting a beacon in every one of these shops so that you have these little ambassadors all over your area constantly pushing out notifications branded with your information on it, but giving the discount coupon for that local restaurant or business or whatever else that's going on there. And the battery lives on these things last for 5 years.
Yeah, no, they're crazy. But let me take you a step further, because I've been on this train for about 3 years now.
Okay.
And it's started to rear its head in some fashion or another, which I'll go through. But when they perfect this, it's going to be awesome and annoying at the same time. So what's the biggest beacon you carry around in your pocket?
Cell phone.
Your cell phone, right? And where does that beacon come from? The cell towers, right? Or a satellite.
Right.
Right? So we've been talking about this before. So you probably see it now. When I get them all the time through my Google phone. I'm going to see if I have one right now.
Like a push notifications?
Well, I'll get a notification that says, like, you were just at I don't want to say Wawa. People on the West Coast have no idea what that is.
What is Wawa?
Wawa is a convenience store / gas station that we had. It's big on the East Coast. Okay. My East Coast people, Bill Conover, who's listening, he knows who Wawa is. But
okay.
So pick something national. Give me something that's national. How about In-N-Out Burger? How about that?
In-N-Out, McDonald's, whatever.
So when you go to a McDonald's, 5 minutes after you leave, you'll get a notification saying you were just at McDonald's. Rate us. Have you gotten those?
No, I haven't gotten those.
Oh, dude, I don't know if it's a Google thing or what it is, but anytime I go somewhere, I get a notification on my phone. It's scary. You were just and I'll get reminders for 5 days. I'm trying to think of where we just were. I was somewhere like 3 days ago, and I got a message this morning saying, you were here 3 days ago. Give us your feedback. Or even through Google will say there's questions mounting about a place online, questions mounting online about a place that you were recently at. Can you help us answer questions? So now what's going to happen is, so think about Google pay-per-click. And if somebody from Google's watching, please make this happen and call me and I'll help you test it. Google's going to be able to send location-specific advertisements via the cell tower. So here's what happens. Greg walks. So think about where you're at. You were at Inman's a great example. You were walking through Inman. Somebody there is advertising through Google pay-per-click and saying, anybody that shows up in the doors of this Inman Connect, I want you to shoot them a $20 coupon to our service and pinpoint, have a map for them that comes to them so they can come visit our booth while they're there. And they're going to spend $120, and everybody that walks in that place is going to bing, 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 bing. Everybody's going to get these advertisements with coupons and a location, and there's going to be a line at the booth.
I absolutely love that idea. My mind is going 1,000 miles an hour because now we're talking about geofencing.
100%.
I talked about when I first heard about geofencing about 4 or 5 years ago, I got obsessed with it, and I contacted a company out of Emeryville, which is right over next to Berkeley and Oakland and everything else, and they're like, yeah, we do geofencing. I'm like, how much does it cost to get the geofencing technology? Right. And they're like, about $150,000. I'm like, that budget's a little high. But as that's coming down, if you guys haven't heard about geofencing, Gene nailed it. I mean, they've used it in department stores. Like if they're having a sale around jeans, this is the example I was given. Ladies, you guys are looking at an expensive, $250, $300 pair of jeans. You're like, they're nice, but my booty doesn't look exactly the way I want it to look. So you walk away. Well, as soon as you get out of the geofence, it'll be like, hey, come on back. I'll offer you 20% discount.
Right.
For the Lululemon jeans. I don't even know if they make them.
That's happening. Yes, they do. That's happening in your email right now, right?
Yeah.
So the new trick now is that anytime you're going to go buy something, especially with the big box retailers, like say an Amazon.
Right.
When you go to Amazon, you pick what you want, you put it in your cart, right? Yep. And then you close it and walk away. If you wait 15 minutes, there's a really good chance that you're going to get an email saying you left something in your cart, come back, here's a 10% coupon.
I got to do that more. I just usually just put it in my cart and I just buy it. I'm just going to leave that shit there from now on.
I'm the same way as you. I just need to get it over with, right? Like, let's do it now, get it out. I don't care about $6. But my wife is always like my wife is an Ebates crazy maniac, and she's like, what did you order? And I tell her, and she's like, did you go through Ebates? And I'm like, no. She's like, I'm going to kill you. Because you know what Ebates is?
No.
So it's an affiliate link. You go through Ebates. You basically connect to, I don't know if Amazon's one, just use that for example. The other day I bought this thing from Bed Bath & Beyond. So you go to Ebates, you go to Bed Bath & Beyond through Ebates, and there's a percentage of cash back that they give you based off your purchase. So for argument's sake, let's say it's 10%. They offer 10% with certain products at Bed Bath & Beyond. You go order a $100 product, they put $10 in an account, and at the end of every month they mail you a check.
Fuck. It's just like the letter E and Bates.
Yeah, like rebates, but with no R. Yeah, go check it out, dude. It's crazy. And I did it last night. We made I don't know. So she's up to like $750 cash back for the year.
Oh my God.
Yeah, I mean, but the trick is it's stuff you're going to buy anyway. So you're just getting a couple bucks back. That's all.
I wonder what their shtick is on that, how they're hooking you on that. But that's interesting.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
So here's the thing when it comes to geofences for real estate. I would say, and this is how you can be super sneaky, evil ninja status, is that you go into, your MLS, you figure out all the properties that are going to be on the market that Sunday, right?
Yep.
Then what you do is, if it's similar type properties, any competitor properties, you go in and you just geofence around every one of those properties, and then they'll be able to notify, they'll know who's in that fence at what time. So if you don't want to ping the agent or anyone else, you can just, let's say the home starts at 1 o'clock, 1 to 4, right? So anyone who enters that geofence from like 1:15 until 3:45, you can push out a notification to them. Hey, If you're looking for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath with 1,500 to 1,800 square feet and this price to this price, come take a look at us. We're open today, located at 123 Main Street, priced at blah blah blah. So it's like you can go get the other buyers that may or may not have seen your home, but you can also do it around your house. For anyone that leaves your geofence, you can push out a notification 15, 20, 30 minutes later. Hey, thanks so much for coming through the open house today. I really appreciate it. If there's anything we can do to to help your home search, please let us know. Here's a link to our website or whatever message you want to put in there. So I think that there's going to be a finite amount of time before this gets totally abused, just like home lines.
Yeah.
It's going to be awesome in the beginning with beacons. It's going to get saturated. And then people are going to be like, dude, they're going to make a considered a point to go home when they leave their house every single time, Wi-Fi off.
Yep. Is that a bad thing? That might not be a bad thing.
It might not be a bad thing. I mean, right now, back in the 1970s, you saw about 500 ads a day. Now you're seeing more than 5,000 ads, and that was a stat from 2006.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's 12 years ago? I mean, that's
But think about it. Think about what happens again through this life cycle. They're going to put something in place like it'll be a geofencing do not call list.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh yeah. You can make yourself geofence bulletproof.
I mean that's what ended up happening. But we're talking 5, 6, 7, 8, 12 years down the road, and by that point the new tech's coming along. So it's just one of those things. It's like here's the thing, especially with your marketing, you're just going to piss some people off if you do it right, and you got to be okay with those people going away because if the offset of you pissing 3 people off is that you capture 100, that's a pretty decent ratio, right? You just know that, right?
Yeah, I'm down.
So the more technology you put out there, you just know that people are going to be like this effing guy. Every 2 minutes, I'm getting a notification. I'm out. I'm going to report him and have him never. Okay, you're going to get that. That's going to happen when you're out there.
Yeah,
and you got to be okay with it. That's all.
Yeah, it's God, what was the movie? It was a sci-fi movie. It was a little while, maybe a year or two ago, and it popped in my head because it's exactly what you and I are talking about right now. Like like he was walking down the street, it looked like just a normal quiet street, just people were walking around and everything else. Then he put his goggles on or his mask on or something like that, right? And all of a sudden it exploded with virtual, augmented reality advertisements all around him. He ripped them back up. He's like, what the hell? We put them back down. It was a completely different world on the augmented reality side. So it could just switch over to that. I mean, as we switch into augmented, it'll probably switch away from anything that has to do with these clunky sons of bitches. Yeah. I mean, these things are going to go away. I mean, I've been saying this for a long time. This will go away 100%. Google already has the patent on the contacts with cameras in them that will learn your blink patterns so that you can literally film and take photos from your point of view at all times.
That scares the hell out of me. That stuff scares me.
That's a different level. But I think that we're gonna get either like a hearing aid put into our ear, or potentially surgically, or just a plastic something put right here on the back of our ear that will then pick up our vocal cords so that we could be in the loudest environments but still come across crystal clear. Right.
So Bill Conover saying Minority Report. That was the one with Tom Cruise, right?
Yes.
That's the movie you were talking about, right?
Well, that technology, the stuff with the goggles and everything else, dude, they already have the goggles made. I was listening to a TED Talk from 2 years ago, and he's already developed. They raised $100 million for these goggles, and it's complete virtual augmented reality. And he gave it to his 14-year-old son to try out. The kid picked it up. I can't snap like that.
Oh, you got it, yeah.
It just boom. He had the goggles down. Straight up Minority Report, moving shit around, moving through the augmented reality. I'm like,
that's wild.
Wow.
No, it's wild. So I think, going back to earlier, you asked the question, like, what kind of tech is going to change the real estate space? And I think I'm surprised this hasn't been, it's probably out there in some form or another, but it's not bigger, is that imagine the days when you're as a buyer's agent, your tours are you feeding those tours into a virtual reality goggle space, and your buyer sits at home and walks through the houses with their glasses on, right? And you're on a Zoom call with them or on a video call with them, and you're saying, turn left, look at the kitchen, see the kitchen, blah, 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 blah. What do you want to do? Put an offer on that one. They could be in China walking through houses in San Francisco.
Yeah.
And that's coming. I mean, there's no question. That's going to be here sooner than later.
Oh God, that would be so amazing. I mean, that'd be so amazing. I mean, strap a big old toaster to your face,
Yep.
aka, the virtual reality, and be able to walk through that stuff. I mean, because that's going to eliminate your time of just wasted time. Because people can walk through, get the entire environment, but you can't. There's no tactile, aspect to that. So people can't go and actually feel it, touch it, smell it, get inside of it. So I think that they'll eliminate all the chaff,
Yep.
and then they'll just go with the solid product. Like, we like the layout, we like the colors, we like the backyard, we like the location. We want to see this one in person, and we want to make an offer.
Well, see, so you just went back to the emotion, the senses, right? Your sensory, whatever, I don't even want to say it, but you're going to narrow the 30 homes down to meet your criteria to 4, and then you're going to go smell it, right? Does it smell like dog? Is there too much traffic outside? Is it on a busy corner? You still are going to need that agent or that person to help walk you through that, but the technology got you there, right? That's what we were talking about before. The tech, as long as you're doing it right, will get you to where it needs to be, and hopefully in Greg McDaniel's case, it gets 1 million people where they need to be so that Greg can cut down his workload and make a shit ton of dollars because all he's doing is showing the 3 houses that they want to see, not the 75 they filtered through.
Exactly right. And there was a huge discussion between Brad Inman and Gary Keller.
Yeah, I saw it. I wanted to talk to you about that. Were you there?
Awkward ass conversation.
Were you there?
No, I wasn't there, but one of our listeners shot me a link of it, and I watched it on YouTube yesterday.
Yep.
I'm like, dude, Gary is twitching like a tweaker.
Yeah.
He is. His. Good.
We got to be careful because I know, there's a ton of KW agents on, and I know, and Gary Keller has been the barnstormer. That was not. I don't think that was one of his finest moments, and I mean,
no.
I don't think it was terrible, but just having seen him 1 million times and known what his MO he was a little bit off that day.
He was a little bit off. He was combative, and I don't understand why. Brad was, again, I mean, I own all of his books. I mean, massive respect to Gary, massive respect to what they built, massive respect to the whole organization. I mean, they have the best training organization in the world, hands down, bar none.
Yeah.
So you can't talk shit about them. And I never would, but I'm gonna bring up and illuminate some of the points about his conversation with Brad Inman. He was irritated. You could tell it was a pitch not to go for like Purple Bricks, Redfin, any of the discount brokers, EXP, anything digital. He's fighting against, and he made an argument, but I'm not sure if it was 100% the strongest argument that he could have made. I think He's fighting to defend the agents, and I respect that. I mean, that's what a broker does. They protect their agents. That's an honorable thing to do. I think that the way the human psyche and the mentality of real estate agents is shifting, and the day of the hard-working, hard hustling agent is potentially coming to dwindling down to an end, or at least a slow. And I've seen this with, products and stuff that my family and my father and I, we've produced and put out there based upon our work ethics, like door knocking and calls and, grinding through the database and doing all these heavy lifting things. But then all of these other websites out there are now doing the heavy lifting and then just producing the end result for a portion of your commission check. Mm-hmm. And Gary was fighting against the saying like, hey, look, you're taking 20% of these agents, commission checks. And Brad's argument was, yeah, but they're already spending multi-billions of dollars out there on lead generation anyways. Why not just deliver the end product and have the agent be more efficient? And there's going to be some sort of, cost involved for these other companies. It's business. I don't know. You're in lead generation. I mean, what are your thoughts? Where do you see this going?
Well, so I see it going again, like we talked about before, I see it going the way of Amazon. Like you just said, the need for the hardworking boots on the ground guy or girl is going to become less important, and that's just because of the technology we have in place. And just think about it from the whole Amazon Whole Foods thing. Did we talk about this at all?
Yeah. Well, no.
Well, just think about it from a supermarket perspective. So Amazon was doing Amazon Prime, and then they created this, I don't know, like a deliver foods to your house type thing, right? And so that was the way that it worked. Now they're out buying Whole Foods as a place to put their hard products so that you can walk in. You don't have to have it delivered.
Right.
You can still have it delivered. If you're a Prime member, they will still deliver it right now in certain areas to your house for free. So you can get your groceries delivered for nothing. But think about where the world's going. So now think about your first job. One of my first jobs was at ShopRite, right? So at 14, 15, when you get your working papers, they stick in and teach you how to be a cashier at the local supermarket.
Right.
So there's 40 of us lined up. And, of course, at that age, it was just a matter of time before we got fired because you're 15 and you could care less, right? I'm only there because my dad made me. But it was a great spot to get your whistle wet when it comes to the working force.
Right.
Well, now imagine a world where you order everything online, you walk in, you pick it off the shelves yourself, and when you walk out, it dings your bracelet, which is connected to your credit card.
Yeah.
Now there's no more reason to have 16-year-olds lining the cashier counter. So it becomes you got your of those 16-year-olds, 2 of them show their mettle and become these hard-working boots-on-the-ground guys that translate to awesome real estate agents in their 30s, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's no foundation for that anymore.
No.
Right? So what they're doing is Whole Foods and Amazon are eliminating the need for that boots-on-the-ground stuff. I think real estate is doing the same thing. They're eliminating the need for door knocking is what they're doing. The end result's going to end up being the same. The commission check still comes. It's just a matter of which ones are standing there because they had the right technology. Is it Amazon? And what happens when Amazon gets into real estate?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we talked about this before. I mean, flat fees and everything else. We talked about that we make your money on the buy side and versus the sell side. And
yeah,
it's going to shift. 3 to 5 years from right now, I predict that our industry will be radically different than where we are today. Radically different.
I think you're being patient. I think it's more like 18 months to 2 years.
Ooh, that's even scarier. Everyone on this listening to us, either live or on the recording, probably just got chills up and down their back, like, well, guys, the old saying is, hey, when the sun's out, make hay. So get out there, stop procrastinating, start hustling, stop being afraid of technology. This shit is not going anywhere unless we have a worldwide, EMP that just knocks out everything electronically.
Now you just gave me chills. My whole world ceases to exist if that were ever to happen. So.
You know what? Dude, look at the majority of my social network is on Facebook. My videos are here. I mean, it would do a lot of damage for my brand as well. But is that bad though? To go back to actually getting to know another human being on a personalized basis and not depending on tech? And I don't answer that. You're going to say no.
Well, no. I'm going to say if you're forced to do that because of an EMP attack, yes, that's bad. But if you're talking just in the real world today, no, it's a great thing.
Right. All right. Let's start wrapping this thing up a little bit, Gene. Now, do you have a specific tech tip for us? Because we've gone over a shit ton of tech, or are we teched out?
I think we're teched out. I don't know that I have anything. When you told me we were doing this together, I think my initial thought was, great, we're going to talk about 50 things, not just one.
Well, we went deep onto tech when you and I riffed for a straight hour on this, and it's freaking awesome. But where can everybody get you? If they want the Volpenator, where can they find the Volpenator? GeneVolpe.com.
Yeah, baby.
Yes.
Yeah, you got it back, right?
Brought back the oldie but goodie.
Listen, I got some. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm not in the shirt selling industry, but I got something up my sleeve that I'm probably going to end up selling shirts on this show.
I hope you do, dude.
Remember we talked in the beginning about I had something to show you?
Yeah. Okay,
these people are going to be in for a rude awakening, so I think we're going to line it up and have people sign up for this shirt.
Tell me it's going to be a sketched out version of the evil Volpenator as like Darth Vader with his raccoons shooting gun. And
I forgot about the raccoon. Shoot.
The raccoon shooting gun. And then you have Bird Boy, if Catman and Matt's Bird Boy, my trusted sidekick, to defeat the evil bald ninja.
I will not deny or I'm not going to say anything here except to say that the foundation is being laid as we speak.
Oh, my God, dude. I will totally rock a Catman shirt.
So stay tuned.
Catman and Bird Boy against the evil bald ninja. All right. Guys, I want you to go to bookmcdaniel.com. Again, that's bookmcdaniel.com. Let's talk about 30 minutes about EXP. Talk about how you guys join us on the back end, but you guys wave your flag on the front end in regards to everything we have to offer you with EXP and the value add and the whole 9 yards. But I want to appreciate you guys all coming over to watch us today. It's been awesome hanging with you. We got the world's best, step-in co-host, the Volpenator, the Gene Volpe, the man who shoots baby squirrels or what
raccoons.
Baby raccoons out of his evil ninja gun.
No, but no raccoons were harmed, however.
In the making of this theoretical environment, yes.
Cartoon environment, yes.
All right, guys. Hey, we're going to be coming back to you next week with some more amazing, amazing topics and great guests. So stay tuned. Keep watching. Spread it like wildfire. We love you guys. We really appreciate it. That's why Matt and I keep doing this. That's why Gene is with us every single Friday to bring amazing tech tips for us. So, Gene, now since Matt's not here, you get to choose the color of the bow.
I got to go orange.
Dude, that's right. He literally has an orange bow right above his head right now.
That's right.
All right, guys. Make it a great, blessed, incredibly powerful weekend. Know that we love you to pieces, and we want to see you guys succeed at the highest possible levels. Until next time, peace out, ninjas. We gone.